claimed that the selection of individuals to fill the nominated MCA slot was a sham, as it was done in total disregard of the law. The
debate on the credibility as well as the integrity of the process has surfaced after Nairobi governor claimed that he nominated the alleged lover of an MP.
Kwa hii siasa ya 2017, Ken aliniambia, governor, wewe ni rafiki yangu, nominate bibi yangu mdogo Andhumbi kwa bunge la county la Nairobi.
It was a statement that Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko hoped that would have settled the debate over the late Kibra MP Ken Okoth's alleged secret family with Nairobi's nominated MCA Anne Muthoni Thumbi. The governor affirming that the nomination of the MCA in question was more out of political influence. On the 23rd of October 2018, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC, in its report, revealed big flaws in the nominated MCAs list. The report noted glaring inconsistencies in the administration of party lists, with some people being nominated though their names had not been forwarded by any political party. The damning report also showed that the names of nominees in special categories of youth, the marginalized, people with disabilities and minorities were either replaced and new ones introduced and variations made in ranks, but the commission still gazetted them.
There were people whose applications were being received outside the timelines.
The ODM Secretary General is making reference to a report made by a task force that indicated that the process of picking the party list for the nominated MCA slots was a sham. According to Sifuna, the party's county electoral college, led by the party's governors-elect, failed to adhere to the rules. Governors took advantage of loopholes to fix their relatives and lovers.
We have agreed that our members were wronged. There were many things that went wrong, including what I was talking about today morning, that even after the lists were agreed at national level, the distance between the National Secretariat and the IEBC offices also present an opportunity for them.
IEBC's last year audit report and ODM's task force report agree that there are weaknesses in the process of nomination.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with nominating anyone who's close to you, whether they are your girlfriend or you want to call them concubines. But what we are saying is, you should be able to declare that conflict of interest. For instance, if as the Secretary General of the party, I am conflicted, then really I shouldn't be part of the process of nominating this person, so that you create an air of credibility around the process when you allow other people to subject that person of yours or your friend or your concubine to a process that is not infused with favoritism.
Jubilee's Secretary General Raphael Tuju says governors were responsible for filling the nominated MCA slots. According to Tuju, by delegating the job, the party had envisaged that governors would nominate people who would in turn help them push their development agenda in the county assembly. Speaking to Citizen TV, Tuju said the top party leadership only came in the event of a dispute or if nominated persons did not meet the set criteria. Enoxikolia, Citizen TV.
So all of you at some point have been nominated. Apparently it was not being done based on merit. Speaker, I'll start with you. There's even no question about it. I just want you to, I want to get your reactions on it. Is it based on merit or is it based on who you know and what you contributed to the party?
Well, you know, Speaker Elachi was in a small party called the MBAS, the Alliance Party of Kenya. I worked for it as the Secretary General for 4 years. In those 4 years, I volunteered. They never paid me, but I volunteered. I campaigned for all my candidates. That's why I had 1.1 million votes. And therefore, for me, it is merit.
Could you see the same for the rest of your colleagues?
It was a party.
For the rest of colleagues, though.
From most of it in the region of Upper Eastern Meru, and therefore I am a lawyer. And to be very honest, Governor Kiraito just sat down and said, honestly, this girl has worked. We don't need to fight.
But are you aware of instances where they've been given nominations based on other things?
And for me, my nominations, now let me talk as the SG of that party. Every woman who got that nomination had a track record of working for that party. There's nobody that we brought from outside, oh, this is it, now you're coming the last minute. No. You look at them, they worked in Meru, they worked in Lamu, they worked in Isu, and that's why we gave them. And you find we were spread all over the country. And therefore, for me, as the SG, I knew very well, you must indeed reward women who have worked in the party. And because the chairman, Kiraito, never interfered in that process, I was able to ensure every woman who worked indeed was nominated.
Okay. Yes. Honorable Sylvia, have you had, you are actually a nominated senator right now as we speak. What was it based on?
Well, first I'm from the Wiper Democratic Movement. And the system there's actually a system on how nominations are done. We actually have a panel that sits and sifts through. Again, it's largely on merit. In fact, all the nominated MCAs and myself as a senator and the nominated MP at the National Assembly, all on merit, all on their participation in the party, all on their loyalty towards the party. You know, you have to consider all those things. And then what else do you add to the party? Like in my case, it was largely based on being a professional. They said, let's see what also a professional can do besides being, you know, political. So largely on merit and a system of panels. So when I hear that somebody unilaterally nominated, you know, somebody, it is strange, because then whatever party they come from, have there not been any systems, you know? So it is a very clear system in the Wiper Democratic Movement.
So, Honorable Wangari, just to get your thoughts on this, when Sonko said, and I quote, "You're my friend, nominate Bibi wangu mdogo." I mean, are we supposed to still give the due respect to nominated seats, that whether it's MCAs, senators, whatever it is, are we supposed to still give them the due respect that those seats deserve, knowing the process that how you get into these seats?
I think for me the tragedy is that Governor Sonko threw mud to a whole process. Yeah. Just like that. And you see, the dead tell no tales. Ken Okoth was not there to say, I didn't tell you. You know, when I stand and say, Ken Okoth told me something today, do you have a way of proving it? You don't. But I can just say it and just make it sensational like Sonko did. And I think it was quite unfortunate that we can reduce someone to that level, that that's all you needed to do, sleep with someone and then you ask a favor. And I'm wondering, Ken Okoth was in ODM party, Sonko was in Jubilee. How do you now tell someone to nominate across the party? If anything, Ken would have nominated her if she was, you know, would have nominated her in ODM. And to tell you even from my side of the story, we served with Elachi in the Senate last parliament as nominated senators. We served with her in Kibaki Tena. We have just not come from somewhere. I came from the university, we got into the Kibaki campaign. I was in Warembo na Kibaki. She was a regional campaigner in that campaign. And we have grown through the system. I got to UDF that time. She got to APK when we became of age to join political parties. So we have a history that you can actually trace. So that process is done by political parties, not by governor, not by senator, it is by the political party. The person who signs that list is the Secretary General of a political party. As
but that list can change between the party and IEBC. That list can change.
In fact, that's what SG and Sifuna said.
It can change. I know that. I was a victim when it was happening during my time. But that still makes it very clear. You cannot present a list to IEBC that is not signed by the party Secretary General. There is a process of that. People may influence, but for me, the most of the nominations are actually based on merit. You cannot have 100% clean process. Just like in elections, there are always people who say you stole my vote or you did not follow the procedure. Even in nominations, we have had contests. People have gone to court to actually challenge nominations for one reason or another. So you may not have 100%, but I think to basically just put mud and actually disregard the whole process is actually unfair, and not just to women, because I was nominated with my party chairman, Hassan Osman, last parliament. I was the treasurer, he was the party chairman. We had worked for that party. We were founder members of UDF party. For us to deserve that nomination, we got 12 members of parliament across the country. We got a governor, and we worked for that party. So in terms of meritocracy, I don't think it can get better than that.
Honorable Thembu, these comments from the governor, does it downplay the role of women in politics?
I think this one is one of those that he didn't actually think about because he demeaned Anne in saying so. Because he made it look like Anne was basically nominated because of a sexual relationship.
And what does that do to women in politics?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying I don't even think he thought about it, because yes, he's always in the business of demeaning women, but this one, I think he didn't even realize he was going to demean women. I think he just, in the process of trying to appear popular, he ended up demeaning women. And what I can tell you is that we can also not take, I agree with the Honorable Martha, that we cannot take Sonko's word as law, especially where Honorable Court is not there. So we cannot defend him. We cannot defend what was said or not said. We might discover that Honorable Okoth never actually even nominated, because Sonko already knew Anne before. She worked with in his rescue team, as he says. So he may have actually nominated her for the good work she did in the rescue team, which is a good reason to have nominated her. But to infer that she was nominated because she was Ken Okoth's girlfriend, if indeed he did that, that was wrong. But what I can say is in regard to the nomination process, I can say it's 50-50. 50 in the sense that there's 50% that is done well on merit, but there's 50% that is not done on merit. I'll give you my example. Before I came into politics, I campaigned. I actually started a group called the Western Kenya Presidential Campaign, where we campaigned, which was actually the parallel team. The principals were moving one way, and were moving with the Honorable Kajwang, Oburu Odinga, and others. And I was the coordinator. And I raised funds, and we went all over Western Kenya, Nyanza, Rift Valley, and Nairobi, campaigning for the party. We went to more than 50 constituencies. And after that, everybody in the party said, who was that young, dynamic girl? We want her in the party. And I also became the orange face of the women during the constitutional process. But so I merited. But having said so, I have been through this process 2 times where we have nominated. Now, especially after the Constitution, the passage of the Constitution. And I can give you the example of Homa Bay County. In the first process, only 2 members selected everybody who was nominated. 2 members of parliament. In the second process, we put a college, because the college was composed of nominees of the party, including the governor and the MPs, and we are supposed to identify people who have worked for the party. But still, 1 member corruptly included 6 nominees. So let us also not pretend that people manipulate the process. But 50% was still good. So we cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater.
And that's exactly what
so we must actually relook at the system and tighten those loopholes where people must abuse. But the system itself is not bad, and the reason it's not bad is that we are testament of the fact. After her nomination, she became speaker. After her nomination, she's been elected a single constituency. So am I, so is Sarah Korere, Shebesh, Sophia Abdi Noor, Lesuda, Ongera. There are so many, because it gives you a platform.
Basically,
to learn.
There's a chance for someone to make a call so that to favor one person or the other. Because Jacob Babere here says, just listening to the panelists, whether they say yes or no, party nominees are shrewd, majority via flower girls, financing than laid rules. Sonko attested to it and he doesn't lie. Caleb Chauro says, these things do happen, and we know. Why are our women leaders running away from the truth?
We have not run away from the truth. And I want to encourage Sonko followers to stop blocking their minds. Because even when we are saying the same thing, they still think we are lying. Because we are saying the same thing, and Sonko doesn't lie. Sonko is not God, he lies. And I can tell you, I'm not fearing taking Sonko on, especially when he lies. When he says good things, I will support him. When he demeans women, I will take him on. When he lies, I will take him on. Because he needs to understand he's not God. So what I want to say is that on this one, I want to agree with those people who are saying that the process is not right. But it's not wholly right. 50% of it is bad. 50% is good.
Now Punguza Mizigo is suggesting that it will be scrapped altogether. Do you agree?
No, that is now another mind that is not thinking well.
Is it about Punguza women?
Yeah.
That is dead on arrival.
So there's no support from you, Honorable Wangari.
I'm not supporting.
Does he have a point, though, that it will help the country save in as much as, yes, the women
I've not read
affected.
it, but I think it's a fallacy to actually think that by cutting our representation, that is where our problem is. And if you ask me personally, my personal view is that we don't need a referendum. We have enough laws in this country. We have enough that are in our drawers. All we need is the implementation, lock the loopholes for corruption where money is lost. It is not in having more women in leadership.
We've been unable to achieve the 2/3 gender rule.
And by changing this law, how much will you spend on it, first of all? Billions of Kenya shillings to run it, first of all. Does that translate to the amount that is paid to women legislators in parliament or in the county assemblies? It is just 1% maybe of the budget, so we are still not solving the problem. We'll keep redoing it and doing it the same way.
So it's a no from you, not
For
even
me,
cutting the
we
number.
don't need a referendum.
And generally
And
cutting the number of
the
representation is where Punguza Mizigo is talking about. It's
Punguza
not just
Mizigo
the
money that
women
is going to be
position.
used to do that.
Yeah.
Let it just be used to pay women.
So
But
scrapping of
aren't we
nominations,
overrepresented,
no.
though?
Sorry, say that again.
Aren't we overrepresented? Does he have a point that we have the president, we have the deputy president, we have the governor, we have the deputy governor, we have the senator, you have the MP, you have the women rep, you have the MCAs?
Yes.
Aren't we overrepresented?
Yeah, if you pose the question that way, then the answer is yes, because you'll be comparing with other jurisdictions. How many, legislators versus the population? Then you say yes. But is the Punguza Mzigo then the solution to how then representation should be done? The answer again is no. I think I gave my position last week. I said, you cannot have this thing come out. It has no public participation, because immediately you'd see the comments coming out. Why nominations? Why are we fighting the nominated slots, and yet they are there for a specific reason? And the fact that there was not enough public participation, for me, I have a problem with it. And then again, if we are talking about saving Kenyans of money, then it is not just at legislature. There's also the government itself. There's also parastatals. There's also agencies. We need to look at it on a whole sum, because the budget that goes to parliament is just a small section of the rest of the government. So let us be sincere to Kenyans when we are talking about Punguza Mzigo. The Mzigo is not just in parliament. In fact, not largely in parliament. It's largely in government and the setup, including how the county governments are also set up. So we need to be very sincere when we are talking to Kenyans.
1.2 million signatures, you don't think that's public participation?
No. That is not. Last week again, I said public participation is when you call people, you sit down, you take their views. Not signatures. You take their views. Then you go and craft a document that is based on people's views. So what the BBI is doing is what is called public participation. You sit in forums and you call people to bring their views. That is what is called public participation.
Signature
Those
collection.
are signature collections.
But you have
is very
append a
different.
signature onto something
Yes.
you agree with.
No.
So 1.2 million Kenyans agreed that this is the way to go.
You first get the views of Kenyans. Where do you think is the problem? That way, then you get a document that can be owned.
But
that's how you create ownership.
And that's I don't agree with that, because you can suggest something. I could ask you whether you like this glass or not, and you say yes or no. So if I give you a position and say this is how we intend to cut it down, do you agree or don't you disagree? So the idea is, if you agree, you sign. If you don't agree, you leave it out. So 1.2 million people agreed.
Yes, and 1.2 million is not representative of a population of 50-something million Kenyans. That is also what I'm also saying. And then again, let's not forget on the spirit of public participation, as envisioned in the Constitution. Even how budget process making is made, it starts with the people. What do you want? It always starts with the people. So let us be sincere about it. Yeah, let's approach things correctly, the way our Constitution has envisioned. Okay. Let's not try and impose, because that's what we are getting right here, right now.
Can I say something?
Yeah, you want to jump in
before For me, number one, we need a referendum.
No doubt.
No doubt. Okay. Because we need to put it very clear. We are tired with 2/3, 1/3, I don't know what. We want to put it very clear. If it is 50-50, and let it go now down, so that we will never have problems again of women begging as if we are not the same women who are taxpayers in this country and who are working so hard. 80% of the women of this country are the pillars of Kenya, how it moves. So for me, first, that is where I start with that referendum. I don't mind what they are saying about Punguza Mzigo, because there's no Mzigo you are punguzaring on a woman. When I look at even the women reps, the little money they have, At least they are able to show there's something happening. At least they are there. When you look at the women who are in the constituencies, right now, how they are struggling to prove that this little money I have, I can do beyond what even a governor is doing. And then you come, it is just governance. I think that is where Punguza Mzigo went wrong. You just need to look at governance. Governance is when you look at how women do things and how our men are doing things, it's so different. Women are trying their best to ensure the little I have is transparent, it's able to be accountable, and people are able to see what you're doing. Now, when you come with Punguza, first of all, what is the percentage that we are talking about that Parliament takes from the whole 3 trillion that you put in that budget? Should be the first question you should ask, whether indeed that is where wastage is in Kenya. And I think where wastage is, it's just where we've had an attitude that we will just be taking. I've said it's not corruption. Kenyans just decided we just take money the way we want. We take it, we steal, we do things. When you look at what the governor, the first governor of Wajir did with the money he was given as a governor, you will know there are people who, when given a job, they will do it well. Because that man did something in Wajir to date. Nobody can forget.
I think for me this, because we started talking about Punguza Mzigo or Punguza whatever, Gunia, or from the perspective, I've had others calling it Punguza Gunia, but that is on a light note. I do not want to demean the good work that the Third Way Alliance is trying to do. I have said it elsewhere that actually he had some very good ideas if he wasn't too arrogant and if he actually had time and sat with people and discussed. But the challenge this process is going to face is where the rubber meets the road. And that is not in the Twitter group or Facebook group. Because a lot of the times as the elite, we are very divorced from the realities on the ground. When you go back and you say, okay, we want to punguza mizigo by reducing legislators, and you tell them that we are going to reduce constituencies. Sounds very sexy, sounds very attractive, until you go to where the rubber meets the road. So tell the constituency, which one is disappearing? Which one do you want to go? That is where it is a dead on arrival. There is no constituency. I go to Suba North. I tell Suba North people that now, with effect from today, Suba North has disappeared. They tell you go back to the hell you came from. Suba North is not disappearing. Go to any constituency, none will be willing to disappear. So it is dead on arrival on that basis. But one of the things I liked about, because it's also good to acknowledge good things. One thing I liked about his suggestion, if it is carried through, if we carried it through to the signatures, is there was a suggestion that you could pair that you have in one constituency a man and a man, because then it would effectively have reduced the representation that is talking about, but ensuring 50-50, not even 1/3. So that was actually excellent, but the reality of the matter is who is going, which constituency is willing to reduce. I think he missed the opportunity when he was the CEO of the constitutional process. That is where he should have punguzed the mzigo by doing the 50-50. And by also insisting that we do not expand. Because once you expanded, then we lost the war. But then also you know that the constitution, there is a calculation which is based on experiences from all over the world. That gives us the number of constituencies that we have now.
Honorable Wangari, I know you want to come in,
just
but
quickly,
we need to take a commercial
Millie
break.
has already said it. I'll close, and I'll say that, you know, I have said we don't need a referendum, but I know it may come. And the one thing I would want to see in that referendum is that for every position, governor and the president, the president, it's the either gender. If the president is a man, the deputy is a woman. If the governor is a man, so the deputy 50-50. Is a woman. Then we'll have achieved this, we'll have sealed this disparity once and for all.
Since we're already here discussing representations, and we'll come back, we'll get your thoughts on that cover of the Daily Nation yesterday. I'm not sure if you saw it. All male presidential candidates.
Possible contenders.
Possible female contenders for president.
And we
I thought we had them as president.
I thought so too.
No, we had them as president.
Let's have that discussion when we come back. But first, let's see what you're saying online. Hashtag is Daybreak. At Trevor Mbija, Zinzi K. First up, Duke. says if Ann Thumbi's nomination was as a result of the affair she had with the late MP, then that shows how crooked party nominations are in Kenya. Any Kenyan can move to court to challenge her nomination.
Okay, still sticking to Twitter. Kennedy, good morning. You say our politics is very dirty and we have incalculated imperfections into our democracy, and for real, these are what we are reaping. As we blame our leaders, the buck stops with us, and it's high time we have to vet our leaders deep before we mandate them to represent us.
All right, let's see another one here. Benson says the ladies on the panel today have worked for where they are today. However, let them accept that majority of those nominated, especially in the county assembly, do not deserve the nominations.
Okay, so one Beatrice Salachi agrees.
Yes.
Simiu, good morning. You say Kenyans, and in this case majority, have accepted the Puguza Mzigo proposals. It will save us a great burden and also elect credible leaders, since the option will be limited. It will also reduce the nomination of girlfriends. Okay.
All right,
I want to say that the word majority is not true.
Okay.
It has not gone to Mashinani.
Okay.
That's where the majority will be
24
determined.
counties to support.
Let them first get 24 county
24
assemblies.
counties.
Let's start from there.
First. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about representation still, and whether there's Inua Mama, there's Embrace.
Yes.
Are they fielding one of their own?
There we go. Out of 50 million Kenyans, not a female member of parliament can become president. We'll be right back.